Welcome to the Racing Nuggets podcast. I'm PJ Noodleman, joined by my co-host, Mr. Dan Plan from the Midwest Racing Connection. Hey, Dan.
Hello.
Good to have you here. And we are joined by a guy that can drive, I think, anything competitively. Mr. James Swan. Hey, James.
Hello.
Thanks so much for agreeing to join us.
Thanks for having me on. I'm kind of honored. It's so early in your series here, and I'm honored to be this close to the beginning. That's pretty cool.
Well, you are someone who has, as I said at the opening, you've driven damn near everything. Trucks, Superlate, Sportsmen. And speaking of Sportsmen, you were recently down at Dillon Speedway in South Carolina and raced with a bunch of other Midwesterners that went down there. That was probably one of the most bananas races many of us have ever seen. What was your take on it?
Yeah, I wasn't too surprised by it. I've been down there 8 or 9 times. And
you've won too, haven't you?
I did. I won in 2012 or 13. 13, I think it was. But yeah, I've been there so many times. It's kind of a norm. I mean, they wreck a lot of stuff. It's not always this bad, though. I've never seen people intentionally take each other out. A lot of it's mostly accidental, but this year was the exception. Three times I was standing talking to somebody or watching the races, and I felt the ground shake when cars hit the ground, or hit the wall. It was just twice or 3 times they were in the air. One guy almost cleared the wall while I was standing there. Hit driver's door on top of the wall. That was the first one. Then during the feature, I saw a highlight. Another guy was in the air, and if he'd have cleared the wall, he'd have hit the pace car. But last year, a guy went over the wall and hit the tow truck. So,
wow.
Yeah, I don't know. My theory on that whole problem is that they put tennis tires on street stocks, which aren't supposed to be on tennis tires. They just don't fit. So they put big, wide tires on there, and they stick out past the body. I mean, it's a good 4 to 6 inches, depending on what car you have. And it's like a sprint car, then it becomes an open wheel car. So when you touch tires, you go for a ride, and there's no saving it. So I feel like if, like all us Midwestern guys, we tuck the tires underneath the body, we feel it's a lot safer. It's one of our rules up here. So I kind of think that that's the problem with that whole thing. But I don't know. I made a mention to Ron Barfield, and we'll see if he listens, and maybe he can adjust on it and hopefully make it better, because it's a fun deal. We've been down there so many times. We've made a lot of friends down there. It's fun going.
Yeah, I know Dave Trout said he was going to let everybody think that he was related to you. That way they would like him better.
It must have worked, because they seem to like him when I talk to him.
You are a pretty likable guy, that's for sure. And you had your throwback paint scheme for Alan Kulwicki down there for that race as well, too. And you've run that several times. Did you choose 97 as your number because of Alan Kulwicki?
No, I didn't. I was driving for Mark Crandall when I finally got my number. I started off at number 4 because a friend of mine was 40. We were racing kind of together when I was a kid, 18 years old, whatever. And he was 40, so I made my number 4. And then the next year I went to 42 for some reason. And then I drove for Chuck Moat and was number 78. And then I was going to drive for Mark Crandall, and he had his brother driving, and they were 96. Well, he got in an argument with his brother and then decided he was going to build his own car and wanted me to drive it, and couldn't be 96. So we made it 97. My daughter was born in 97. My dad was working on the Chad Little number 97 Winston Cup car that year. Just a bunch of things that all went together. Just happened to stick.
And I think you've run that. That's the same car you've run down at Dillon a few times. Have you run that anywhere else up here?
Yeah, Katie and I decided to build this car, I don't know, 3 years ago. And she let me start looking for something that I didn't even know what I was looking for. And when I found it, I said, that's the one. So we went to New Market, Minnesota, I think is where it was. Bought the chassis from Eric Campbell. It was Jake Ryan's 2004 Mid-American Stock Car Series Championship chassis.
Okay.
It's a Built Speed Shop chassis. I've had really good luck with those, so I knew I wanted one of those. So we went there and picked that up and put it together. I started putting the chassis together just over time, whatever, not really in a hurry, but just because I didn't have any Sportsman car parts. I had never owned a Sportsman car. So just kind of started piecing things together, finding pieces here and there, and it all kind of went together. And when we decided we were going to build this car to take it down to Dillon, I wanted to run it or build it as an area sportsman, because their cars are very close to an area sportsman. So I figured I could run it here and take it there at the same time. And if I wanted to sell it, we could sell it here. So when we were building this car, somehow I found out, because Katie works at 5-Star, somehow I found out that 5-Star still had the body plans from a 92 Camaro body when they would just put them on the late models. So I talked to James Straube, and I knew it was going to be a lot of work trying to make the 104-inch wheelbase body fit on a 108-inch wheelbase car. And then obviously the late models are 46 inches tall. This car's 52 inches tall. It was a whole bunch of work to make it work, but James Straube said he could do it. And they could make it in aluminum or steel. Well, down there, when I built the car, the rules were you had to have a steel body. So up here, we run aluminum bodies up here. So I wanted to build it as an aluminum body car and be able to put steel body panels on it to go down south. And about the year that I built it, I realized that they changed the rule and you could run the aluminum body down there. So yeah, James Straube worked on getting this Camaro body because it's something that I always wanted. I always liked that body style. So James Straube worked on getting some parts for me. We kind of mocked him up and made adjustments, and he made new parts, and we got it to fit. And then when I got to put this body on, we wanted to do some sort of a throwback, like a Richie Bickle throwback is what we originally thought we were going to do. And then somehow Kyle Preste sent me a picture of the business card from 1992 with this yellow Camaro on it. And it stuck in my head that was the Alan Kulwicki Camaro. So obviously my number's 97. I figured it would be a perfect fit. That's the car that I remember when I was growing up, going to Slinger Speedway in 1982. I remember seeing that car. And we used to have those little WLPX buttons, like pin-on buttons, that would pin on your shirt. We had 100 of them on our kitchen curtains when I was growing up. So that paint job has a lot of memory to me, and it's super cool. I'm glad I got to do it. It would have been cheaper to wrap it in dollar bills, though. Yellow paint is very transparent. It's very expensive, but it turned out pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know. We'll see. We ran a few up here. We ran for first time out with it when we got it done. We took it to Slinger Speedway to run with their area sportsman cars, and had no idea really what we were doing. Had a 602 crate motor in it. Came out of the truck, burned a bunch of oil. It was just kind of worn out and slow. But come to find out, it was really good at Slinger Speedway. We won by half a lap first time out, so that was really cool. So then we went to Jefferson because I'm not very good at Jefferson. So Katie said, we got to go to Jefferson with this car. We got to get you better at Jefferson. So I'm like, okay. So we went there, and first time we went, I think we finished 12th or something like that, and kind of about what I expected. I didn't have any spare parts, didn't have the springs and shocks that it needed for Jefferson. So when we went back again, I got some other stuff and tried it a little better and qualified third, and then it was their championship points night. So they made me start it back, which was fine. So I just kind of rode on the back and watched the feature from inside my car. Then we went back to Slinger again, decided we're going to get set up for Dillon. So went back to Slinger and was going through the field, got up to about third, and the fuel filter plugged up because I had bought a used fuel cell from a guy, and the foam had come apart and plugged up the filter. So like, well, it's a good thing we tested here because we had that fixed before we went to Dillon. So we went to Dillon, ran it last year, finished 9th with it. Just again, didn't have the right springs and shocks that we needed. So then this year we decided, it's sat since last year, so we decided to get it out of the trailer. We took it to the Dells for the showdown weekend. Racing Friday night, I don't remember we qualified, whatever, but going for the lead outside of Bobby Gears, and we both wound up in the front stretch wall. So it kind of took a little bit of work to fix that back up, and we went to Dillon with it, and that's about all we've run it. We bought a newer motor from Matt Urban after Halloween. So we got a newer 602 crate motor in it now. I don't know what we're going to do with it.
It's a sharp looking car.
It is. It really is.
That.
You mentioned Katie a couple of times now already, and I love your wife. She is just a gem, but it's pretty cool that she seems to be just as much into racing as you. A lot of times racing can kind of break up relationships, but it seems like it pulls the two of you closer together, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better person to live my life with. I jokingly say that she likes racing more than I do sometimes. She grew up with her mom and dad at Slinger Speedway, and that got her interested in it. And yeah, we got together. I don't know if I saw her one day a week for 6 months because I was in the garage working on stuff. And we ran 56 races that year. We won 22 of them. So that was pretty awesome.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate myself, just being able to drive for other people. I've raced, I think it's my 32nd year now, and I raced for 30 years and never owned my own car. So that was pretty awesome.
That's impressive. And
Yeah,
that's a testament to your talent, really.
I don't know if it's talent, but it's, I like to work in cars. I like to trip as if my own, and I've never had a whole lot of money, so I knew that if I ever wrecked a car, I wouldn't be able to fix it. So I tried to do everything I could not to wreck a car. And I like to race people how people race me. So I try to extend that, see, and hope they get it back. And it's worked out very well for me.
That is pretty impressive because I think, around these parts, you still can't go out and buy a ride with a checkbook, especially in a, sportsman mid-am type racing, right? You earn it on merit. I don't think you can buy them up here these days.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I was counting before we got online here, the 25 different people I've driven cars for. And I've got a whole list of people that have helped me all through the 32 years. And then I was driving for Rob Braun, driving the Superlate that I have. And drove it, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And finally I went to Rockford with it, wrecked it bad enough. It sat in my garage till July. And Rob's like, we got to sell this car. I'm like, I can't really sell it yet because I haven't been able to fix it. And she's like, well, take it apart, get it to left-hander, we'll figure it out. So in the process of taking it apart, I realized that it's going to cost me more to fix it and give it back to him than it would be just to buy it. So I figured I asked him what he wanted for it, and he gave me a price. And I asked him if he'd take payments, and he did. So I paid for a year to buy the stupid thing, and now I'm stuck with it. So now I own my own car again.
Is that the one that you ran my second favorite James Swan paint scheme, the Pat Shower tribute on the tour that year? Is that car?
No, that was for Brian Holtz.
Okay.
Brian Holtz got
really
that car
sharp.
through Chris Radchek somehow. Yeah, that was actually Brian Holtz's car. That was our Midwest Tour car.
Okay.
Do you have
what I liked most about that car was how you had painted the C post to match the Camaro window from that era. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of that was Mike Borchard. He is super, super awesome when it comes to thinking of ideas and graphics and stuff. He went on the internet and found a bunch of old pictures of Pat Shower's car, and in the vinyl graphics for the coloring, the blue and the red, were pictures of Pat Shower's car. And then somehow in the process, we got to talking about the Camaro body, and both of us, at the same time, said that we got to do that. So it turned out perfect. I'm super glad I got to do that.
Cool.
Of all of the different racing vehicles, you've had trucks and obviously cars. Out of everything that you've done, do you have a favorite? Do you prefer the trucks, or do you like the Sportsman stuff better? Do you like Superlate, late model? What is it that you like the most?
Oh boy, that is a tough question. Katie loves the truck. I love the truck. I am more towards the Superlate. I like the Superlate because that's, in my mind, that's where the fans go to watch. The Superlates bring the crowd. That's what I like about the truck, because most of our races are companion races with Midwest Tour or Tundra or Superlate models in general. So we get to go race in front of all the people that came to watch the Superlates, and then we get to sit and watch the Superlates also. So I don't know. I've always said growing up, when I was running mid-am cars, I said, if I could get a late model to handle as good as my mid-am car, I think we'd win them all. And yeah, it's not quite the case, but we tried, and I've gotten, I don't know, my Superlate, when Rob first let me drive this car, it was fantastic. Won 4 races with it, set fast time with it. We were really, really good in that car. And then I don't know if I messed it up or something got messed up in it, but it's not the same anymore. But the truck, I've gotten the truck really, really close to the Sportsman car, for the mid-am car, in feel wise. So that's why I like the truck so much. It's economical. It's the Sportsman class of late model racing. I grew up driving mid-am cars, basically Sportsman cars. And everybody gets along with each other. Everybody helps each other out, race respectfully. And it's fairly economical. And the truck series is the same way. It's basically a late model, but it's economical. John Wood does a great job with payout. It's only 1 tire, so it doesn't cost a whole bunch of money. We get to go to all the cool racetracks. Everybody hangs out and has fun and gets along, and it all makes sense.
Do you have a favorite track?
Slinger Speedway, top number one, without a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Lake Geneva was my favorite. We grew up there, and when they closed in 2006, we had to find a new home track, so we went to Slinger. That's how I met Brian Holtz, and that got me through the Arc of Midwest Tour. Yeah, I don't know. Slinger is just, I don't know. First time I went there, I won, and that was just, for some reason, that was the one that I loved. Dells is a really close second. I like racing at the Dells. I like Kaukauna. I like Milwaukee. Jefferson's my least favorite. I just cannot figure that one out. It's a tough one for me. Total Spartan, I'm hoping never go back there. But it's a racetrack, and if we do, just, it's a tough one.
That's funny. You obviously, and you're repping where you work. I see that, Matco Tools. So you're a salesperson, which means you're a relationship builder. So not only are you an incredible driver, but you've got that relationship building skills. And I think that those two things together are pretty much what make you very unstoppable, because you can build great relationships. That has to be a good reason how you were able to connect with people to drive for 25 different people. I mean, that's unheard of in my mind. So you must be a hell of a salesperson with Matco Tools and a relationship builder in your personal and professional life.
Don't ever call me a salesperson. I am not a salesperson at all.
You're a relationship builder.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that came from the racing part of it, trying to get along with people that I was racing with, because we're not getting rich. We're not going to NASCAR. We're just there to have fun. And if you can't be friends with the people you're racing with, what fun is it? So yeah, that probably helped me out a lot as far as selling Matco tools. But the tools pretty much sell themselves. I was a Chevy mechanic for 15 years. I got laid off a couple times, and I kind of stumbled across an ad for Matco when I was laid off, and I had used Matco tools. And a guy that trained me at my Chevy dealer had become a Matco distributor. So I sat and talked to him for a little bit. And I asked Katie, I'm like, hey, I think I know what I want to do. I told her, and she's like, 1, you hate people, and 2, you're not a salesperson. How do you think this is going to work? So I'm like, but listen, I said, the tools sell themselves, and the people are my people. They're mechanics. They're people that I understand, and it has worked out way better than I thought it could. I'm super glad we did this. It's a lot of time and a lot of effort, but it's not a lot of work. It's way better than working.
Well,
so when you're delivering tools, you're not upselling people. Like somebody just needs a 10 millimeter socket, and you're like, I got this torque wrench here that Matco just came out with that you gotta have. You don't do that?
Not at all. No. When we first start off, you carry a bag around and you try to sell stuff, and that gets your relation built started and that kind of stuff. But I've realized that a lot of my customers like me because I'm not the pushy salesman. I come in and ask them if they need anything. We talk small talk here and there, and I go on my way. They come to me if they need something. So it's worked out very well. Cool.
I like that you and your wife, Katie, are working in basically the racing industry, if you will. I mean, you got the tools. She works at 5 Star, and together between the two of you, you guys are like a power couple of racing.
Yeah, we were very fortunate. That's for sure.
I love that.
So do I. So do I.
I think on the relationship building, the first time I was lucky enough to meet James and Katie Swan was the year we had a rain out on Saturday at Oktoberfest. And I think I sat at the same table with Jacqueline and you and Katie for about 5 hours. And that's one of the times that made me realize that rainouts aren't always bad.
Not at all. We had the most fun this year Snowball Derby. We went down there. They had a rain out Saturday. And, oh man, that was a lot of fun. We packed the bar. There were empty beer boxes stacked up, and met some good people, and it was a good time.
Yeah, I think down there, anytime somebody from the Midwest, or particularly a group from the Midwest, sits down and parks it at the bar, I think they know there's going to be some serious sales going on here of alcohol.
They should know that if they don't by now.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So what is your schedule going to look like here for 2023? Have you determined that yet?
Currently, my schedule is classified according to the internet, from what I read today.
Oh.
Yeah, they're still working on the Truck Series schedule. I know it'll be out released tomorrow, I believe. So our number one goal is Midwest Truck Series. Obviously, Katie and I love it so much, and all of our sponsors want to be on the truck because the notoriety that they get, that they're different, and all the cool racetracks and stuff. They're gonna be on TV for most of them. So we're gonna be with the Truck Series for sure. And then I want to race more Superlate. So we're probably gonna run the Midwest Tour opener at Slinger. Jordan Devoy and I are splitting the Tundra Superlate Model Series again. We're actually going to go tomorrow night and drink about what we're going to do and who's going to race which races. And so we got to figure that one out yet. That's not set in stone. And then Greg Beebe had me hooked up with his mid-am car last year, and I believe he wants me to do it again this year. So we'll kind of hit and miss whatever schedule allows. I don't know if we're going to race our Sportsman car this year. I have a plan that I would like to practice with it the way it's set up for Dillon, because they run a different left side percentage. They run a different tire, a two-barrel carburetor. You know, to test up here, it's not even close to what the real life situation is going to be done in Dillon. So I think that's what we're going to do. And it depends on the Truck Series schedule. So I can't really tell you what we're going to do.
So is Dillon probably going to be the furthest you'll travel to race, or are there going to be maybe some other specials that will have you traveling a little further outside of Wisconsin?
Well, if I could talk Katie and my sponsors and my crew into letting me race this Stars Superlate Model Series, we might go to Pensacola, but no, that ain't going to happen. I would love to, but I don't know. It's a long drive. Not a lot of money. I mean, it costs $1,500 just of fuel to drive down there and back. So it really isn't beneficial. So that's probably as far as we're going to go. Although I did see that there's an Ohio Wheelman Series for street stocks that my car fits in. They run Ohio, Virginia, Indiana, Michigan, stuff like that. So farther east from here, but I'd like to go see a couple of those racetracks. And some guys that we were talking to, Albie Ovitt, he lives up in New Hampshire, over that way somewhere. Talk to him every year. We go to Dillon, and he's putting on a big race at Star Speedway, or he's in conjunction with a guy putting on a big race at Star Speedway. And I want to say it's in New Hampshire, and it's supposed to be 10,000 to win for street stock. So I don't know. I don't know how far New Hampshire is from here, but I think it's a long ways.
It could be. It could be. So if you were to do something like that, what would you need to be able to go do some of those races? Sponsorship wise. I know. Like how much do you think you would need to go do a few of those?
I don't know. I guess I hadn't even planned it out yet. I don't know. I guess I'd have to look into it when I got a little more serious, but like I said, most of it depends on the Truck Series schedule. And it depends on time. If I could buy time, I would, but it's not for sale.
Right. Well, if anyone wanted to connect with you, be a sponsor, a supporter of you, I would imagine they could probably just message you on Facebook.
Yeah, of course. James Swan fans on Facebook, or obviously me, myself, Katie Swan on Facebook. We do have an Instagram account. Taco, this kid that helps me, he runs it. I don't know how to even do it. I don't even know what it's called. Katie, do you know?
Swan Racing?
I think it might be James Swan Racing on Instagram. I'm not even sure.
Wow, you even got a media person. That's impressive.
Yeah, he's basically our stepson. Mike
and his
Rose
name is Taco?
Yeah, we call him Taco. I kind of joked into that and it stuck. So it is James Swan Racing number 97, I believe.
Okay.
James,
look it up.
_Swan 97 at _ racing. I don't know how that works, but so anyway, Mike, his name is Mike Rose. He's one of my customers, and was on the truck one day and saw the pictures of the race cars and started asking about it. And he lives like 5 miles away. So he wanted to come look at the race cars. So then he decided he wanted to help with the race car. And now he goes with us everywhere. He goes to the racetrack, he'll go to the bar, he'll go to dinner. If we go to a birthday party or something somewhere, he comes with us. But he's a huge supporter, and he's a lot of help. Another one I couldn't ask for anymore. So, but anyway, so we walked into lacrosse with him the first time we took him to the racetrack and ran into Dave Overmeyer, and Dave's like, who is this? I'm like, this is Taco. So I'm like, hey, Taco, here, this is my friend Steve. And he takes him around and introduces him as Taco. And all of a sudden it's stuck. So because all he eats is Taco Bell. So I joke with him that he's Taco. And he'll say it now too, that Taco knows more people than Mike does.
That's funny. Oh my gosh, that's funny. So did I hear Katie right there with you? Is she willing to poke her little face onto the camera too, so we can say hi to Katie?
I tried. I told her I was going to make you ask her some questions, but she's playing with the cat and shaking her head. She doesn't want to come in here. But so
she is a good one. That Katie. I love Katie.
There is. She says, "So are you?"
Aw.
I love you too.
Well, I'm looking forward to Pensacola again next year for the Snowball Derby, and hopefully Nicole Fredrickson will be able to come back down again. She's a pistol too. She's just kind of a rolling party wherever she goes. That's for sure.
Yes, she is. She's an awesome person.
She did tell me that she definitely wants to be part of the next rain out whenever that happens again. So I've got her number handy.
Oh my gosh.
I saw you. You race the Bahamas frequently, and that's one I've never been to. What? I mean, it looks like a fun event, but is there anything in particular that just makes it more fun than other events?
Again, just like the Dillon race, it is people that we only get to see once a year. You know, we've got friends from Grundy, Indiana, Minnesota, people that we don't really get to see very often, but they come down to the Brahma brackets, and that's where we all hang out. It doesn't matter if there's a race going on there or not. That's worth going to. But I think that's the most underrated race in the country, the Bahama brackets. It is so much fun to watch all the different classes of cars race with each other, and you know everybody's qualifies, and they separate them by time. So you got classes of cars that are the whole class is only separated by 0.2 of a second. So it makes for really exciting racing, and a lot of people don't race with each other very often. And Rockford Speedway is notorious for making excitement.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to say it. Making excitement. Yeah.
I a lot of time, you know, people have coined it Wreckford, but I don't think it's the track necessarily. It's just the way, like you said, there's people that don't necessarily race at Rockford, because I don't think they wreck that much on a weekly basis. But at the big events, when you've got people that aren't used to racing there, and they're probably trying harder than they normally would, that's when it turns into a different type of event.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I think Jake Guiley and Adam Cartwright and Alex Weber and we've all realized that Dillon Motor Speedway, Rockford's got nothing on Dillon Motor Speedway. Even Dave Duke said we don't wreck that many cars in 10 years. So,
amen to that. Wow.
Right. So Rockford's one up above Dillon Motor Speedway as far as wrecking stuff. So they can't have their championship trophy for that yet.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things too that was pointed out a lot on the broadcast was Truett's restarts when he was leading, but it didn't look to me like he was doing jackrabbit starts or slowing up and speeding down like they were saying. I think he was just starting faster like we do up here, and they didn't want that. They wanted everybody to just about come to the start finish line at 5 miles an hour. Does that sound accurate?
That is 100% accurate. Yes. Ron Barfield used to race NASCAR in the 90s, and by God, this is going to be NASCAR from the 90s.
No.
So they've got their start box, they've got painted on the front stretch, and yeah, you creep along in second gear, and then when the flagman throws a green flag, you go. Shift gears, the whole thing. So we had decided if we could get 2 northern guys up there on the front row, that we would gradually pick up speed off at turn 4 like we do up here. Dave was trying to do that, and Ricky Locklear Jr. actually caught onto it and stayed with him, and it really didn't wreck any cars. You know, the best part about those restarts was everybody had separated themselves just enough that nobody wrecked on those restarts.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're both feet on the floor in second gear, coming to that start box, expecting the guy to go, and everybody's bumper to bumper, picking each other up off the ground, that's when wrecks happen. So
yeah,
we were trying to see if we could try to get them to amend their procedures a little bit, but they weren't going for it.
Yeah.
So is there anything, James, that you have not raced that you would like to get behind the wheel of?
Yes. If I had my choice, No. She knows. If I had my choice, I'd drive road race cars like a Trans Am car or a GT3 or something like that. I love those cars. I love going left and right. And I've been to Road America 4 or 5 times and I just absolutely love it. But it just didn't fit in what I was doing. And I'm not good at everything, Patty. I raced a dirt modified a couple years ago for a friend of mine, Ronnie Mink, also one of my customers. He had a dirt sport mod or B mod, I think it was. But yeah, we went and practiced at 141 for their big end of the year special. And yeah, we practiced on Thursday and it was fine. Out there by myself, it was no big deal. It would put me in traffic and I didn't know what the heck I was doing, spun out by myself. And I said I'd never do that again.
Well, if that was just your first time, I would bet if you worked at it a couple, 3 times, you would probably be right up there in the front because you're James freaking Swan.
I don't know if I'm going to give myself enough tries on that one. I don't know. It's not what I like to do. I don't like my helmet turning orange, my driver's suit turning orange. I don't have time to clean the car. I'm sure they're a great group of people, but it's just not for me.
Dan, you look like you've got something you were going to say.
I was just thinking up here, Kerberger's I used to race on pavement. Kyle switched to dirt a couple years ago and he's done really well. I keep joking that he should have switched to dirt years ago, but I know Tom, his dad, really likes keeping the car clean, and that's been a point of contention with him. As the trailer's always full of mud and clay, and got to wash the car every time you get home. So there is that part of it.
Yeah, my friend Sonny Chofin started off racing up here that I got to be friends with, and he moved to North Carolina. That's how I got hooked up with the guys down there that I drove for to go to this Dillon race. And then he now moved to Plano, Texas, and there's no asphalt tracks near him. So he converted over to dirt, and he says he loves it. But
well, I guess it takes all kinds to make the world go round.
This is true. I've won at every asphalt racetrack in Wisconsin. I don't know if you knew that, but I don't know. I guess I'd like to been at a dirt track. I guess I don't know.
That's impressive. That is impressive. There's a lot of dirt tracks here in the state too.
There are. I don't think I've been to a third of them. I've been to a few. Wilmot's right down the street. It's only 7 miles from my house, and I'm just not a fan. I'm just not a fan of Wilmot Speedway. I like dirt racing. I like watching it on TV and that kind of stuff. 141 is a way better dirt track than it was an asphalt track. I tell you that. We went to Lafayette over in Darlington with Jeff Waters. Watched over there once. I thought that was a pretty nice racetrack. Where else have we been? I've been to Beaver Dam. That's probably all I've been to in Wisconsin as far as dirt tracks.
If somebody were to write a book about your career, what would be one thing that would be a real big chapter to share from your racing career? What would be a story that would be like, oh my gosh, did you read this part?
Well, we had the most fun with that on Bergie race and mid-am cars. Some of the stories we told, some of the stories we made, I guess 2006 to 2008, a little bit beyond that with Adam Bergie. The funniest one was I kicked 2 of the guys out driving on the road. We left, I think it was Kaukauna. I think it was Kaukauna we left. And 2 of the guys were picking on each other, and I just about had enough. 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe late at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd had enough, and like slam on the brakes, and all right, somebody's getting out. So Adam's in the front seat, he gets out. So I slam the door, take off driving down the road, and Don started sitting in the back seat, who Adam was arguing with, starts giving me crap that I got to go back and pick him up. I'm like, why? You want to get out too? Fine, let me out. So we slam on the brakes again, stop, kick him out, take off down the road, driving down the road. And meanwhile, this is like 3:30 in the morning. We'd been at the bar for a while and whatever else. And driving down the road, and tires are flat spotted and it's shaking. And I look in the mirror, and there's Ryan Farrell sitting in the back seat all by himself. He's like 17 years old, so he's stone sober. And I look at him like, oh man. I said, we got to go back and pick him up, don't we? He's like, I think so. All right. So we went down to the exit, turn around, come back. Couldn't find him. And we're looking for Adams. Couldn't find Adams. So we kept going. We find Don. Don gets in the truck. He's like, where's Adam? I'm like, we kicked him out. Or I said we couldn't find him. He's like, oh, well, we got to go find him. I'm like, I know, we're trying. So we went down a couple exits, kept making loops on the exit, off the exit, back and forth on 41. And finally, I'm like, it has to be right here. This is where we dropped him off. So we turn off on this exit. It's an old farm road going between cornfields, and it's July, late July, whatever. So the corn's like way tall. I can't see through it. And like putting on this little road, I'm like, he's got to be out here somewhere. I start beeping the horn and stuff, and can't find him. His phone's dead. His wife's calling me, trying to get me to find him, get him home. And I'm like, that's it. I'm like, I'm not going any farther. He went somewhere. I don't know. He got a ride from somebody else. Like, so we put this little triangle turnaround kind of thing in the middle of this cornfield. So we go around the corner, and I damn near ran him over. He was standing right in the middle of the road. I'm like, how the heck did we find him standing here? So him and Don got out, and they kids made up and got back in the truck. And yeah, they went to the water park the next day. But yeah, we had a lot of good time, a lot of old, just crazy fun stuff that probably couldn't do anymore.
I bet they would never argue after that in your truck.
They didn't. Nope. They did not. Not in the truck anyways, but
Tough love, but it worked.
yeah, it's probably a dumb thing to do, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning, but whatever. We did it and we survived. I don't know. There's stories you could tell for days, just like Richie Bickle. I don't know. It's exciting and funny to me, but I don't know. Some people might not think it's all that cool.
Your dad is a huge fan, obviously, of you as well, too. And he lives down in South Carolina, right?
Yes, he does. Yeah, he lives in Charleston, South Carolina. So yeah, he's been a huge fan of mine forever. He's my biggest critic. He bought me him and his second wife, Lisa, bought me a trailer, an enclosed trailer, so we can go mid-am racing with Mark Crandall. And yeah, he'll buy me a helmet, a driver suit, and stuff like that. He helps out a lot. He goes to a lot of the races. He doesn't seem to like going to truck races. He likes going to Superlate Model races. He wants to go to Slinger Nationals and the big Kaukauna, Dixieland races and stuff like that. But can't get him to come watch the truck race very often. But he will eventually. But yeah, we got to hang out with him this weekend. He was down in the pits with us at Dillon. My mom lives in Elkhart, Indiana, with my sister, and she drove down there this weekend. So I got to hang out with my mom a little bit. So that's kind of neat.
Family reunion.
Yeah, right. All I needed was my brother, and he was working. So.
Well, I guess if you do any of those Indiana sportsman races, you'll be able to have another family reunion of sorts.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely do. My brother's got a street stock that we could probably go race together with, so that'd be cool.
Gosh, does everybody in your family race?
Not just me and my brother. He's
Okay.
He works more than he races. He's a part-time racer. He likes to have fun. He comes to the Bahama Brackets to hang out with us and brings his car. I don't know. He won a championship at South Bend Motor Speedway a few years ago. And a good friend of his, Jim Brown, who's passed away now, but he called me. He says, hey, your brother's going to win the championship this weekend. He goes, I got a car. He goes, I want you to drive my car so you can drive with your brother when he wins his championship. So got to do that. Thanks to Jim Brown. So that was pretty awesome. I guess it's probably my shining moment, favorite moment racing.
That's a cool moment. Holy
Yeah.
crap. That's amazing.
Yeah. Now my brother bought Jim Brown's house. So got all his garage and all his old trinkety stuff. And that guy was super cool. But yeah, I mean, we've had some awesome races during the years. I think Milwaukee Mile is still my favorite to win there. And then 2 in a row with the truck. That was pretty awesome.
Nice. What's the coolest trophy you ever got?
That's easy. It was just sitting here. I've got to, I'm still move this stuff around. You can see my messy house. But I've got a couple trophies over here. See if I can move around a little bit. So I got a couple trophies there. I got some of the big, more over here. I don't know if you can see that at all. There's some more there. More in here. There's everywhere. But anyway, I am going to say that my favorite trophy is the one that I had to get my first super late model win. Driving for Rob Braun. He bought this car from Jerry Gunderman and called me one day and said, hey, I got this car. Where do you want? I thought he was joking. I'm bringing it to my garage. She's like, okay, I'll be there in an hour. And and here he is, brings me this car. So we take the thing to Slinger, and like after like 3 weeks, I think we won with it. And he's like, "Hey, can you give that trophy to my daughter?" I'm like, oh, Rob. I'm like, this is my first one. I might not get another one. And he's like, "I'll get you another trophy. Don't worry about it." So he gets me this trophy. The thing is huge. I mean, it's almost as tall as I am. I mean, look at this. It's right, almost as tall as I am. So that's got to be my favorite trophy. Yeah, I'm going to say that's probably my favorite one. We got a few of them, but
That's cool. I love it. Has Katie ever raced?
free drive stick jumped, I think.
Oops, you froze. I
tried to
couldn't
get
quite
her-
hear you. There.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Nope, that's okay.
That's why I was trying not to move around. But no, she's afraid to drive stick shift, I think. I don't know. I tried to get her to drive stick. She won't even drive the race car. She loves riding in them, but doesn't really like driving them. And I'm glad, because I need her on my side, not on the other side. You know, she's out there in the car that I got to do twice as much work, and she does so much work for me that I don't know if there's enough people that we could hire to do what she does.
I love it. I love it. Well, you guys are definitely a power couple in my mind when it comes to racing. I love that. And I love the fact that you will drive damn near anything. And the fact that people make those offers to you so often to be able to drive their stuff. That's impressive, James. That is so impressive.
Yeah, I'm honored. Would you mind if I actually went through the list of people?
Please go ahead.
All right, I had to write them all down because I knew it would be a while, and I knew I'd forget some, and I might have forgotten some, but I think I got them all. So in no particular order, I started off driving for Chuck Moat. Low budget, lower than I am, low budget, just piecing things together. We had a car. I ran my own street stock first 2 years at Lake Geneva, and then Chuck Moat decided to put me in his car because his driver had gotten hurt, and I was just hanging around with them. So we didn't have much success, but we had fun, and that kind of jump started me getting into Mark Crandall's car, who was next. And then drove for him for a couple of years, won a championship in Mid-Am. Then we went to Kenny Justin, Adam Berge, Brian Holtz, Jeff Holtz, Rob Braun, Mike Carmichael, Rob Litke, Dr. Tooth, Ken Johnson, obviously myself and Katie, Ron and Eric Lingford. Those are cars we raced pretty much a whole season at least for. And then I've got more of them: Bob Coydell, Dave Erickson, Jamie Starks, Brad Norgard, Dave Obermeyer, Jeff Melton, Mark Dyer, Todd Edwards, Sonny Schofen, Danny Church, Pat Heaney, Joe DeGabellis, and Greg Beebe. I mean, it's amazing, all those friends that I have that allow me to drive their cars, put their trust in me that, there's a lot of money in race cars, but these people all have let me drive their cars, and I'm completely honored. I thank them a lot. And
you win a lot. You're a good guy. You're a good guy, and you win a lot.
We have won a lot. Somebody asked me how many races I've won, and I couldn't tell you. I started going through them. Mid-Am come up with a stat this year that I've won more than anybody else in the Mid-Am series, only by a couple over Bill Preetzel, but it was 27 races. I started counting the ones. At one point I had a 60.3% winning average at Slinger Speedway. I've won 60% of the races that I'd entered at Slinger Speedway at one time. And I knew there's over 25 or 30 or 40 or whatever. So I started counting them, and I'm like, I got to be over 200 races. I don't know, but I don't know. I wish somebody could sit down and actually figure out how many it was, but it was a lot.
Well, I bet there's somebody out there who's a stat geek that will actually figure it out for us.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's like the guy from Slinger, the newspaper guy, Nick Detman. He was the one that figured out that I won 60.3% of the features. But yeah, I'm sure somebody could figure it out.
That's cool and impressive.
Thank you. I'm honored. I still love it. I love going to the racetrack. I love hanging out with the people, and it's all worth it to me. I couldn't ask for any more.
I love it. Dan, do you have any other questions you wanted to ask?
No, I think I got all mine covered.
Do you have any other things you want to share?
I want to have Katie come say hi, but
I would love that too.
I can see the smile on her face.
Katie, show us the cat.
Do you want to see Dilly? Hang on, let me see if I can catch him.
I wanted to see you more so. I just thought you might bring the cat.
So we named the cat Dillon after Dillon Motor Speedway. So
Does the cat walk into the walls a lot?
no,
Oh,
Does it
Likes
walk
people, but
really
doesn't like
slow
people.
and then take off really fast?
that he does.
Yeah, he does.
Runs like a maniac once in a while.
Oh yeah, he's special.
nice. Katie, it's good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
I love the fact that you guys are so tight. And I mean, you guys are, I'm going to keep saying it because you kind of are the first couple of racing. You're both just so actively involved. The fact that you work at 5-Star just puts you right in the throes of racing as well, too. Do you get a discount for James then, too?
No, he got that himself before I even
Nice.
worked there. So I'm glad to say that.
That's very
Tell him
cool.
I got that one.
Yeah, Corey Schultz helped me out a lot. And that all became from Jim Katzenberg at 5-Star. They were building the new Sportsman S2 body. And we had the old style vintage, like old ASA body on our car. And they wanted a car that they can compare the old numbers to the new numbers. So they took my car, or Adam Berge's car at the time. They took it to 5-Star, copied our interior on a mid-am chassis, built this new S2 body, and took both cars to the wind tunnel. And they compared numbers from our car to the new car with the wind tunnel. So we got a picture of our mid-am car in the S2 wind tunnel down in North Carolina. So that's pretty awesome. And their appreciation, they helped me out with parts.
That is very, very cool.
Yeah, all kinds of cool stuff like that around here.
You're the master relationship builder. You really are.
I'm not a salesman.
I would much rather be considered a relationship builder than a salesperson myself. So
I love how you put that. Yes, perfectly said.
yeah. Well, thanks so much, guys, for taking some time to chat with us. And Katie, I'm glad you got on camera because I wanted to see your beautiful face.
Aw, thank you.
You bet. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to come on the Racing Nuggets podcast. Thanks so much. And good luck to you, whatever your schedule is.
Hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll find out when the Truck Series schedule comes out.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.